Hello everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Walter DeVise. I am from Microsoft, and today we're going to go over Windows 10 in education. We do, if you're not familiar with Microsoft, we do make this product called PowerPoint, so I can promise you I'm not the person that's going to PowerPoint you to death today. So we're going to just go through some, there will be some PowerPoint in that. Before we get started, is anybody using currently Windows 10 right now? Okay. Is anything top of mind that anybody'd like to go over today? There's a lot of topics, please.
What we're going to get into is having a Microsoft Store for the students so they can't get everything, but still see the store. How to set that up. Understand all our high school students.
Okay. And how are you currently deploying that in a certain way, like Intune and Autopilot? We're probably going to have the parking lot this one, but
that's another question I'd like to look at, because a lot of different products that we install. Currently, the techs are all working together, deploying it with USB drives and quicker than anything else we've done. We'd like to get to the point where we can actually deploy. I know Microsoft's got some Autopilot stuff, however, I have a very customized menu that we set up for them, and has other apps on it too. And I have to figure out how, where, if all that can be set up the same like it is and deployed as a image.
Sure, makes sense. Absolutely, thank you. Anything else anybody would like to go over? Top of mind? We can go over some, basically what this will do is we'll go over that. Thank you very much. We'll go over some of the high level things, some of the newer things that are out. It's going to be build 1909. Is anybody on the latest build right now? Okay. Fantastic. So right now, what I just pulled up right here before we go too much further is the whiteboard. Is anybody currently using Microsoft Whiteboard? It's a free download. It's amazing. As you can see right here. This is a demo account. If you're familiar with Microsoft things, that has Contoso. All of us have the ability for it. But what this does is it's a whiteboard, and it's persistent, and it goes on forever. Yes.
What kind of device are you using?
Right now, I have a Surface Pro.
Okay, Surface Pro.
Yes, and I'm projecting it through a device called Action Protect Screen Beam. If you're familiar with it, so I'm wirelessly connected that way. So this is a great thing for our students, for faculty, for administration. It's persistent, it's ongoing, it lasts forever, meaning that you could have it. If you have an idea, think about students collaborating, faculty collaborating, whatever it may be, faculty, students, leadership, athletics. Imagine going on and on. You have all those meetings. You think about those times, you send a bazillion emails that's really cool, that they go on and on and on and on and on, the awesome threads, and they add everybody else on there for an idea. This is where you can build that idea. And you can share it to the blue. If I wanted to share it with somebody, I click that. And I can share it with anybody. I can have it internal, I can have it external. It's a really great part of Windows 10, as well as there's iOS, Android app. So right now this is actually pairing with my iPhone that I have. So yes, I do have an iPhone. We do play very well in the sandbox. So I have an Apple Watch too. But I just want to share this. Definitely look into this, and I can give her my card, give my information later. I really highly recommend this application because it really helps out with a lot of things that you do. a lot of features of it. But this is just really kind of where, at a high level, I just wanted to go into some of the things that maybe people wanted to see. So education is always changing. We talk about digital transformation. And when digital transformation comes, there's disruption. Change happens. We have to be able to keep up with it. The students, the faculty, administration, everybody has to learn the new technology, what's coming out there. I mean, it's rapidly growing. I'm sure we've all seen it. The workplace, outside life, all these different pieces inside of Windows 10. How education is constantly changing. You'll see students. Has anybody seen students now learning quicker now than they ever have? Does anybody really notice that? They pick up. I mean, I work in education, but I do have 2 teenagers, and it's an incredible amount of the speed that things change and they understand things. And we have to, as educators, as schools, as school districts, we have to keep up with that as well. A lot of great pieces to that we're going to talk about. We talk about the 21st century learning, how students learn, how faculty learn, how do we engage students. Is there anybody now, does anybody have their schools, the students collaborating right now through in any form where they're collaborating with the students, they're collaborating with faculty, could be teams, could be OneNote classrooms. Anybody have that right now?
We're piloting with Teams.
Teams?
OneNote.
Teams OneNote, okay, thank you. Anybody else? Those? So it's really a big part of, we talk about the 21st century learning. Students right now are collaborating. I mean, look at how we work together and how outside when they get to the college and when they get to the working world, they really need to be able to have that understanding. And we talk about the flipped classrooms and students learning things online. They're doing online lectures now. They're learning things in different places than they ever have. Project-based learning and new collaboration models. So we briefly touched base on those. The really main goal is the top one right here is the better learning outcomes. How can these students, how can the faculty, how is everybody, how can we digitally, when we're talking about digital transformation, how can we also have the data and analytics for better outcomes? And we want to be able to give that classroom time back. It's very short. You want to be able to see, can technology, is it enhancing it? Some classrooms, some students, some faculty, that's what it's for. It's to enhance it. It's not necessarily the full part of it, but in some it's fully enabling it. We need to have it. And we want to be able to give that back to them through various different parts of Windows 10. And then affordable, easy to manage technology. My role at Microsoft, I do presentations, but I also sell cloud devices. There are a lot, if you're ever interested, and we'll go into briefly a little bit later, there are a lot of different technologies out there. There are tons of different products ranging from like the $200 range on up. So if you're looking into those, we certainly can discuss those. We're talking about the better learning outcomes and really, going back to it. Really the student success is at the core of everything we do in education. Technology is part of it. But we really want, what are they gaining from it? Are they going to be ready? Are they going to be future ready? That's the thing, and certainly not going to ask anybody here if they believe that they are or they're not. That's certainly up to everybody. It's different on that. But what we're going to do is really kind of go into how Windows 10 falls into that. It is an operating system that has a lot of different features to it, a lot of different benefits, and really how that goes. We talked about a little bit, one of the questions, deployment. We're going to go into briefly into that. Microsoft Edge. Has anybody seen the new browser? Is anybody using it right now currently? Chromium based? What do you think of it so far? Feel free, it's okay?
It's good, it's missing a few things yet.
Okay. What do you think it's missing? It's okay?
Reading list is gone.
Reading list?
I can't add stuff to my reading list. I can do it on the Android, but I can't do it on the desktop.
Okay.
It's not there.
Gotcha. Okay. Anybody else using it right now? This is it right here. Sorry. We'll pull this up.
Talk about the data.
Yep. It's generally available now. Oh, sorry, what's that?
We are all teachers.
Sorry?
Just started looking at that.
Just start looking at it. It's really good. It has a lot of features to it. Some of the learning tools we talk about that are built into it you're going to see whether it's somebody that's enhancing it, somebody that is, we talk about inclusive, whether it's accessibility. I mean, I share personally. I mean, I love to share stories, and that's what I do. But I use immersive readers. Anybody familiar with immersive reader at all? How that works? It truly engages anybody. For me, it helps out. I mean, there's so many technical. I'm sure some people in here too have that fun part of all those things we have to read. I like them to be read to me. It makes it easier for me. Everybody's different on that.
Is there an easy way to make Cortana be one to read?
Easier rate for
Is there
Cortana.
an easy way to allow Cortana to read instead of the voices that are in Microsoft now?
To have Cortana's voice, well, there's different voices in there. I don't know if you can actually have.
I found a way to unlock it to do that, but and it's a lot nicer, but it's not readily available.
Yeah, I was just saying, we could side parking lot that one. But definitely, it's a good point. There are multiple languages that you can have inside there that are read to you. Have you ever seen that where you can drop it down?
Yes, it's just the voices aren't all that great.
You don't like the voices? Okay.
Cortana's got a nice voice.
Fair enough. Just really quick. So we have. I just take these down, please feel free, because I like to give these. Our engineers love this information inside of there. So when we talk about the different parts of it, there's lights that you can change on it. It's good for your eyes. It has many different features that when you're inside. Some of the things you can do web dictionary. Is anybody currently utilizing things such as whether in their previous Edge or the current Edge? Is anybody using? It's okay if you're using Chrome, Firefox, using Chrome. Is anybody using G Suite right now? It's okay. It's all right. It's just, I like to play with everything. Plays out there. So there's a lot of different pieces. Is there anybody interested in? And we can touch base after this. Just please let me know if you're interested in learning more about how these, and we only have a very short amount of time to go on a lot of different features. And I'm going to show these things. So at a high level, we're just kind of looking at them right now.
"1801 I have just returned from a visit to my landlord, the solitary neighbor that I shall be troubled with. This is certainly a beautiful
country."
So that's a little bit of the older part of it, the reading to you. The newer one has a lot different voices to it, and I'll show that to you as well. But those things are really what change for students. I mean, I've worked with a lot of different students all around that some really enjoy that, some faculty enjoy it. Like I said, I use it. Does anybody here feel free, do they use it at all? Yeah, sometimes you just really need that extra, that next piece. We talk about the web dictionary. This is great for students when they can see things. There's pieces of it. There's not only does it tell you the definition, but it also has a piece in there where it can show you a photo of it, a picture of it. Has anybody ever seen that? Where it shows you if you pull up a noun, it's going to show you a picture of what you're looking at. Those are things that really change for regardless of what grade it is. And then we talk about the highlights, and I'm going to go into a minute just to show everybody that, so you can see the pieces of it. So you really want to, inside of Edge, I'm going to pull that up. See all the new, it is going to be the new browser. I'll use that. So when we're inside of here, I'm going to a few tabs set up.
Welcome to the window.
So if we're on the education site right here, you can see that I'm just going to highlight some text. I'm going to right click on it, and you have read aloud section.
Each month you will receive an email that shares events we have planned, quick tips, easy to use resources about exciting new Microsoft education tools.
And if you look top right, I'm going to click on that. You can change some of the voices. I know not all the voices on there seem to be.
We are all
there,
teachers.
Let me just pull this part. I'm just going to read a little bit more. I'm going to change so you can see there's multiple options. Look to drop down inside of here. We'll go with this right there.
E-planned, quick tips, easy to use resources about exciting new Microsoft education tools, and EdTech news. Plus, each month comes with a highlighted course or resource to.
So that part really helps out when you have it read to you, doesn't matter what grade you are in, it really is, like I shared, as an adult, I use that. And inside that you see the top right up here inside the search bar, there's the ability to take away everything else inside of it. Some great features when we have this inside here, when we talk about immersive reader, you're going to see some text preferences inside here. So I can make it larger. This is just right inside the browser. I can make it larger. I can do further text spacing inside there. I can have different themes inside of it. There is some personalization, but it also helps visual. So if you have students that have that need, you have the ability built right into Windows 10. And then the grammar tools. Does anybody currently use any of the grammar tools right now? These are incredible. So let's go. My wife's a second grade teacher, so she utilized this. So if I highlight this section right here, and I want to turn on nouns, it's going to search through and it's going to find the nouns that are inside there. So just like that, it already found the nouns. If I want to do the verbs, that's going to be in red. It's going to find the verbs and then adjectives inside there as well. Now I know it's looks like a little bit jumbled in there. And can everybody see? If you can, I'm just going to right there. I'll make the text a little bit bigger. Can everybody see inside there? Has anybody ever seen this yet? This is truly where we talk about Windows 10 and how it brings to life inclusion and help all students. Yes, I can see that there's parts of this that we want the students to learn, the nouns and adjectives, but it really changes how we can do things when students are able to see this, faculty are able to see this. It's a quick ability. I mean, you think about how much these students are online. Now they have the ability to see these things. Truly changes it. It's a great way. You have read aloud too, if we wanted to.
Microsoft Education. Empowering every student on the planet to achieve more. Watch video, discover the latest.
So those types of things are what, just really quick, when we talk about the learning outcomes, think about the outcome from that. Doesn't matter, Kate, no, please.
We've got a word like watch. In this case, it's a verb, isn't it?
Oh, that's a good, that's probably because I did nouns first. We're going to do an experiment right now. That's a great point. Let's turn it all off first.
It still doesn't think it's a verb, does it?
It still does not. It's a great point. Very good. Good call. Oh, I think you know what it is? This is the only reason I'm saying this because it's a link to a video. That's why. But that's a great call, and I definitely will bring that up. Thank you. So if I right-click on date, I could read aloud there. I could search the web. So if I wanted to search, it's going to instantly pull up whatever I look for right there. I put date in. So right at your fingertips, without even changing too much, and whether you have a touch screen, mouse, doesn't matter if you do or don't, you're able to pull up all this information right at your fingertips. So it quickly changed the way that students are able to, faculty are able to look at things. Now as we go to, I'm going to pull up the photo app. Has anybody utilized the photo app right now, the new photo app? It came out about a couple of builds ago. Does anybody utilize this at all? So you think about students, is anybody students right now, they think that, or the faculty, whatever it may be, athletics would use video and photo? Do you currently have them putting in projects? This is true. This is an amazing application. You're able to, whether you have face camera, back camera, third-party camera. You can utilize that. You can bring in those videos, those photos. You can mark them up. You can add 3D effects. You can put these inside of PowerPoint. Think about adding a 3D part to PowerPoint. When we talk about that digital transformation, that learning, the learning outcomes, how much more are students going to be engaged when they have things that are popping out at them? So that these are things that we truly would be able to help them out. Windows 8, does anybody have any devices right now that they're utilizing either a stylus? I know you have.
Some of our students in our high school use Surface Go.
Surface Goes, okay. How's that? How are they liking the?
The math recognition is hit and miss sometimes. Complex math problems, but basic things like that.
Okay. Anybody else utilizing Windows Ink? So Windows Ink is going to be writing on things. You can write on pretty much everything that's out there. We talked about, one of the things we showed was inside of here. Here is this is going to be Edge. So if I pull up, I'm just going to open up a new tab right here, and you're able to write on any of these types of things. So is it, nobody else, are you using the Surface Pen or using the Microsoft Classroom Pen? Surface Pen. And since you brought it up, we're going to open that up. One of the things that he had shared was the math. Has anybody ever seen utilizing math inside of OneNote? Changing it? Are you using it right now currently? Okay. Thank you. I'm just going to share this out. See if this pops up. So if we have basically what this is built in. So if you're not familiar with it, has anybody seen that there's a Windows app that's built into all Windows 10? It's OneNote app. So you have the OneNote that was 2016 that's no longer being updated. If you're not aware of it, it's no longer being updated. So we have the Windows 10 app that's part of the OneNote that's part of Windows 10. You'll have it as online as well, capabilities. But one of the things you can have is so if we did, so what I did is I just inked a math problem. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm high tech with math, and certainly you could probably do it. But just to show at a high level, since we really don't have that much time, I just lassoed it. And then once you lassoed it, you have to be connected to the internet. You're going to see the top right, you're going to see math. I'm just going to hit that. It's going to give some options to it. I can fix it, I can change it. If you're not aware, you can certainly do changes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to solve it right now. Once I solve it, this is a great part when we talk about how great the options are for Windows 10. I just solved it. It gave the answer right there. I could show the steps, which is very helpful. So you're going to see the steps right there. But if you look right below, it's a great part that I love to certainly show students is the generating a practice test. Think about the ability to, do you currently use that? So you're able to write it. If you saw on there, I just clicked on generate practice test. It's based off the equation I put up there. I'm just going to generate a quiz. And it's going to put it right inside of that OneNote that I just was working on. So you can see I can solve inside of here. And you can put multiple questions. You can add, I had 3 on there, I just put on there. Really a game changer for students, able to have have a problem and then see a practice test inside of there. When it gets to this part right here, how about take a test? Is anybody currently using take a test? Anybody heard of it, seen it? This has the ability to, if you have Windows 10, you're able to generate, let's say you do a Microsoft Forms. You generate a quiz. It brings out a link. You can share that link out. There's multiple ways to do it. But what it does, it locks the device down until that test is taken. So you can't get onto the web. You can't go anywhere else but take that test. Until the test is done, till you submit the test, that is when it's able to move forward. Great part for, I mean, if you think about right now, if you're not using applications or software to see what the students are doing, you really want to lock those down. And there's different applications out there, but it's really, you have this built in, depending on what you're licensing in, all those types of pieces. We get into that. But if you think about what a great option that is, that somebody, you know that they're going to hit it, they're going to take it. They can't go anywhere else but take it. And that could be done through multiple different ways. But I just want to share that. Again, we could go over these a little bit deeper, and we can have side conversations and go into these. But this part too, Windows 10, you can take a test. That's another changer. Anybody that has Windows right now using Focus Assist, this is my absolute, there's probably 2-3 favorites. This is probably the top favorite. If you've ever seen the movie Up, for me personally, I am the living walking squirrel. Like, if I work out of my home office, anything going on, I'm like a squirrel. I will be distracted. I have 0 things on my device that pop up. You'll never hear a sound. When I have Focus Assist on there, Focus Assist is built into it. You can have it blocked so nothing comes through. You can have it blocked so you only see it if your boss sends things through, which sometimes I do. Think about those times. Have you ever had a time where you just had to get a project done, like a focus, we call focus time, but you ever had that focus time where I just need 2 hours where no one can bother me? You don't raise your hand, but I'm pretty sure we all had that. You could turn on Focus Assist to say 3 to 5 p.m. today, I want no one, I'm going to turn on Focus Assist, and you can do that right from, you swipe in, there's multiple ways to do it. But when you turn that on, it's built right into Windows 10. You don't have those messages. Think about right now, if you're using Windows 10, does anybody have it where you see all the emails that keep coming through? Wow, that's a fun day too. If you get a lot of emails, bing, 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 bing through. I have 0 of those. And it's because I need to check when that's happening as opposed to jump into it. Because just like everybody else, when I'm not doing it, I'll start my day with 30, 40 tasks, and somehow I have 60 tasks at the end of the day because I didn't do the first 40, so I just kept jumping into those emails. So instead of letting the emails and the notifications run us, we could use Focus Assist. Built right into it, great part of it, love it, totally helps out. Inclusion with Windows, we have a thing, there's another piece, it's a third-party product called Toby Eye Tracker. We talk about inclusion. If anybody has ever seen Satya Nadella, who is the CEO of Microsoft, we talk about everybody should be able to use no matter what it is of Microsoft. Whether it's our cloud services, our devices, we want the ability for no matter how you use things or what is going on, you're able to do it. Toby Eye Tracker allows your eyes to control the screen. You can use your glare to utilize it. We showed a little bit about sizing inside there. There's audio. We showed a little bit about color, the screen. I'll share a personal thing with me. I do a lot of training, and I was in a session one time a while back, and I was sharing with somebody. I said, look in the bottom left, you'll see the red. It's need help if you ever go in the admin center inside of Office 365. I was sharing that, and someone didn't say it. I said, okay, it's bottom left. And when we had talked to them, the person had something with visual where they did not see red. Quickly, first and last time I ever did that. But there's students out there, there's faculty out there, there's people out there that have different needs. And when we talk about inclusion, it's really trying to get those different, everybody to the point that they can be included, they can be involved. Whether it enhances them, whether they could be the rock star student that they just want to get to the next point, whether they might have some learning, where they need some inclusion and accessibility. I have a coding class that uses this. I'm working with them right now, and did you ever see the magnifier that goes, you can do in Windows 10? You could change it. If you've never seen it, we're not going to go into that right now, but I just want to share the things that are possible. You can change it to be, I have a coding class that I helped them change it so it shows 2 lines, it does the entire screen. They went out and purchased a very expensive third-party application for something that was built right into it. So now their coding class just goes in and magnifies it. And text prediction in 50 plus languages, 60 languages. Anybody ever seen or utilized PowerPoint or our Office Lens where it can change things in different languages? There's Live Presenter now where you're able to, if you're using Office 365 and it's built in there, you can, when you talk, the reason I'm not using it right now is if the microphone doesn't catch it, you're not going to see it. I can turn it on in a minute. But you have those pieces too. 3D. Anybody using 3D printers right now? You can build 3D. There's 3D built into. We briefly touched base. There's Paint 3D. You can create a 3D object and have it printed right inside of Windows 10. I know you share. OneNote is, we have OneNote class notebook built right into Microsoft Teams. Is anybody using Teams at all right now, or just seeing it? If you're not familiar with it, it's certainly you can take my information, be more than happy to share it. It's great use of collaboration. It's changed the way that I work. Because for my role, I travel a lot. I'm always in different places, and I need to collaborate with people around the world. And it doesn't matter if it's around the world, around the corner. I need to be on the same page as them. And I don't know if everybody here, but I'm not the biggest fan of email. Certainly, feel free to email me. But internally, I rarely get internal email. I can tell you, Microsoft, I might get maybe once a week at most. Where before Teams, I probably got 100, 200 plus. Truly changed because it's social. You're able to quickly get a hold of people. This one right here, I definitely want to touch upon because if you're used to anybody using iPads, AirDrop, or iPhone, if you're used to that. Anybody familiar with nearby sharing? Has anybody used that at all? Seen this? So nearby sharing allows you to connect to, as long as it's turned on to two devices, you're able to share from one Windows 10 device to another Windows 10 device. It pulls up and it'll show that you'll see the name of it. And when you share that, you can share it over Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. So right now, think about students. I have a lot of classrooms that I work with that are sharing things back and forth. They're working on their projects. They share it with nearby sharing right there. Is anybody students? I know you said you're using iPads, but some people are using it. Is anybody students currently using that where they're sharing it back and forth with each other? And you can turn it off too with this, but that's another game changer too, where you're able to see who's available, share things over. Timeline. Anybody using Timeline? So Timeline is going to be right. I'm going to show everybody this real quick. So if you have a timeline, so if you look down here, if you have Windows 10 device, you can see that right there. It's when I click on that. Anybody have where you saved a document to your device and you had no idea what you named it 2 weeks later? I think we've all had that, or somebody sent something to you. We all have different nomenclature. So if I utilize Timeline, if I hit Timeline, what it's going to do is going to pull up for the past 30 days of what I worked on. So I can see right inside there. Think about how this changes the way that we work, how students or how they're engaging. I mean, I've worked with K through second, and they're children. They don't remember things. It's a quick way to access things. We can save things on the taskbar, and we can save things on the way. Utilizing this is a great way. The very top of it, you're going to see. So it has two pieces. One is going to be timelines, going to show you the past 30 days, as well as you're going to see what's currently open. And again, you can turn it off. You don't have to use it, but it's one of those pieces that shows you how you can engage with Windows 10. Action Center down here, if you're not familiar with it, if you can see it, you might not be able to see it, but it's dark. It's dark white. Right now it's filled. When I click on that, this gives me all the options inside of Windows 10. I can control everything inside of here. Tablet mode if I want, battery saver. If you look at the very bottom right, anybody have where their devices might die a little bit quicker? The students die a little bit quicker. The students' devices might die a little bit quicker. This brightness piece right here, you're able to slide that sliders back and forth. If you can see it right there. Built into there, on top of that, you're going to see right here, you're going to see the battery. So this is a big part of Windows 10 too. You can change this. So if I want to be able to travel and if I'm a student and I'm utilizing whether it's G Suite or Office 365, I'm probably going to do the best battery life. It automatically changes the pieces of that device to be able to give the best battery life. So the device list, if I go left, you didn't see it on here, but it dimmed down this right here. So now you're able to give those students and faculty a little bit extra life on there. Now if they're using CAD and things like that, they're probably going to want to stay over to the far right, use the full power of it. But those pieces right there are the things that help education. When you think about all the things that the students or faculty, whatever it may be, what are some of the things that you hear about their devices? Doesn't matter which device. What are some of the things they like or don't like about a device? Do you ever hear about battery life?
Oh, yeah. You have to leave plugged in now over a year. And unplug it, it goes immediately dead. I said, well, I mean, what do you expect? I mean, you got to unplug it every once in a while.
Absolutely do. That's a great point. And that doesn't matter what device, but that's just we'll just throw a PSA out there. You have to unplug it. The battery is a muscle. It needs to be exercised. If it's not, it doesn't matter what device it is. So that just to share that with anybody out there, if you're not familiar with it, it definitely needs to be done. It's good to let it die sometimes inside there. Thank you for sharing. Now when we go in here, I know we're going to touch base. I want to touch base on what you discussed, so I just want to go over a couple more features inside of here. So we talked about deployment, and we talked about, is anybody currently using Intune or Autopilot right now? Awesome. And how's that going for you so far? For both of you?
I'm running PowerShell scripts to make up for some features that are lost due to what is not available in Autopilot for it.
Okay. How about yourself?
I think it's mostly good. We've kind of lost some functionality through policy, and I understand you can pull the policy into Intune, but we haven't tried it.
Okay. And what we're talking about right there is one of the things you asked earlier are different ways to deploy. And there's ways you can use a USB stick. You can have an image on there. It's very quick. Faculty can do it. Just go through and if it's a small image, light image, you go through there. You have the ability to do Intune Autopilot, and Intune, if you think about, so Autopilot is going to give you the ability to take it's inside Windows 10. You can take an image. It's called a hardware hash, your .csv file. You put that upload into your Office 365 tenant, and you can see all your devices. You can either have it from the manufacturer. It could be you could run it yourself, and then you're able to do different policies as well as Intune. So one of the things you had talked about was one of the things that we brought up earlier is the Microsoft Store. So we have a store that is you can get your apps from, which if you ever seen that, it has a lot of apps. A lot of schools, what you want to do is you want to lock those down, whether it's based on student, based on grade, based on department. You can set it up any different way you want, any way you want inside that. You can have multiple different groups. So let's say that your science department, you want to have only science apps. So when you deploy Intune, when you do Intune, so Intune is mobile device management. You're able to manage iOS, Windows 10 and iOS devices inside there. You could push images. So that's my work device. This is my demo device. I change up, I go to different presentations all the time, so I have to change up on the fly. What I used to do before Intune Autopilot would be, I would go to a hotel, I would sit there forever and wipe everything and then put a new image on. Now what I do is just go, I can do it through my phone, but I do it through my devices. I go in and I change all the policies and I push what I want directly to that device. I can push anything I want. I can have just Office 365, I can have certain apps on there. You can have it where they can browse apps where somebody just sends it to you. Think about how great that would be if instead of somebody's purchasing it, they see an app they like, they click on it and it then sends a request in. You're able to have that ability in there. You're able to put in there what exactly you want, and you see it inside there, reset with the touch of a button. What Autopilot Intune, it's Windows Autopilot and Microsoft Intune for Education does, it gives you the ability to change the way you deploy things. So, to give you an example, I have a school that has about 2,000 devices. They purchase about 2,000 every year. What they would do is they would purchase in early May, and they would work on them until probably right before school starts after Labor Day, or before right beginning before there. So they take all the gyms or facilities they can. They have tables. They line up all the devices, and everybody goes through. And whether it's SCCM or whatever it may be, they do different ways to deploy those. With Intune and Autopilot, it's you can basically have if you want to get there, you can do zero touch. What that means is you never have to see that device. I work with a few cyber schools that there's no physical location. The devices go right or shipped right to the student's house, the faculty's house, and it's already imaged. They log in with their credentials. It pulls up exactly what they need to see. And we can go deeper into that, but and I certainly will get to yours, and we can certainly get to. Probably we're going to have a offline on the deeper dive of that. But does that make sense to everybody on there? You could really change. Think about how you give time. I mean, one of the things we don't get back is time. That one school that purchased $2,000 a year, they went from 4-month deployment to 1 month deployment. So think of that, 4 months to 1 month. They have an IT staff of 3 people. I just spoke with them yesterday. This is the first year because they've had previous Windows 10 devices. They went in, they took the information from each one. This would be the first year that they do not have to take devices back to this very thing right here, reset. Normally they had to take them back. What they do now is the students take those devices with them. They have them for X amount of years. They wipe, the devices are wiped or they're changed with a new image to go to the new grade. Think how great that is if you don't have, I mean, think of, I don't know all the schools are in here, but not everybody has massive staffs and massive rooms that we can have all these devices back. You're able to quickly switch those back and forth. This is probably, I think somebody was talking about the plugging in with, it's set up a school PCs app. That's what that basically does. You're able to do a USB stick and plug it into the device, and you can set it up that way. It's called set up school PCs. These Safe Zone, one touch base on that. Through Intune and Autopilot too, you can lock down the device so that if it's, does anybody have a one-to-one program? You could have carts, you could have labs. So think about one-to-one where the students, you want to lock that things that they're looking at down. You want to be able to control what they see, what they don't see, how they can go and manage things. I mean, I had a large school district that I'm working with right now that they started a one-to-one program, about a little bit over 1,000 devices. They're starting with 9th and 10th grade. They started last year. The students hated the device the first month. I mean, when I tell you hated, it's one of those things you're taught as the child, like, do you really hate this? Like, they hate it because it was locked for the first time. They couldn't just access anything they wanted. Now, leadership, board, PTA, everybody else was excited. Students weren't. So we had to go through and we worked with them to see what it was. And really, the big thing was we can't communicate with our friends the way that we used to be able to communicate with our friends in the same classroom, which obviously not something that, but nonetheless, we had a conversation about it. Malicious sites. If you think about right now, the Windows 10 is built, and we're going to talk about it in a second, but it has some safeguards. Office 365 has safeguards. But we want to keep those students safe. It doesn't matter what grade they're in. I mean, K through 12, we want to keep them safe, and that's one of the things that we talk about here with Windows 10. We want to create that safe zone where, yes, they don't know. They don't know that they can harm themselves. They don't know what they can get into. If you think about, if you ever look at your reporting or data, it's human intrusion that humans cause the issues of the breakthroughs, the things that they click on, the things they download. That was another piece of it. They wanted to download anything they wanted. I'm sure everybody's had that. Everybody has it. But students just download everything. Well, that's not, if it's their device, obviously there's controllables. But when it's not their device, that's why you have Device Guard. You have Windows Defender. So when we have Windows Defender, this is, as I shared, this is my work device right here. I have nothing. I have no other malware, spyware. I use Windows Defender. Now we have different pieces of that. But is anybody using currently Windows Defender right now? And how's that working out for you?
No issues.
No issues. I mean, I'm using it. We are the second most, use the word attacked next to DoD. Microsoft is. And we use a strictly Defender inside there. So thank you for sharing that. Are you seeing anything inside yours? So that's the reason I'm not trying to go and sit there and go, Microsoft is founded on. Bill Gates started with Partner. So no, I'm not saying here to say not to use third-party applications, but if you have it built in, think about your licensing and your agreements. If you already have something built in there, it's not just about saving, it's updated when the OS is updated. So you have 0 day. If you're not familiar with it, things that come through before they're even known. We have 0 day your capabilities inside there, meaning that you're not going to see those intrusions because it's built in the OS. Nothing's going to go through there for the most part because of the way that it's designed. BitLocker locks the hard drive, locks the device down. What that basically means is if, let's say you have a device that you can remove the hard drive, I smash the hard drive, I smash the device, take the hard drive out, and I want to go take the data out. BitLocker prevents that. Has anybody had their BitLocker locked out yet? Has anybody seen that character string? It is massive. It's like this huge, looks like the Matrix. What it basically does is it locks you out, and you need to have that character string to be able to go to the next stage. Windows Hello, I'd like to touch upon this. Does anybody use that right now, Windows Hello? Do you use it on your Surface? Is anybody familiar with Windows Hello is? Okay. Windows Hello allows for biometrics, so that could be facial recognition, also fingerprint. So depending on the device, you need a camera that has infrared that can read the face. You would also be able to need, if it's a fingerprint, just thumb reader, USB thumb reader. That's typically, if you already have a device, you're not getting new ones. And you can let me know. I'd be more than happy to share those with you. That's a great thing for students. Is anybody here utilizing K through 6? Work with K through 6 at all? We just have K through 6. Okay. That is, I have K through 6 that I work with. That is the game changer for them. That is the top tickets of, especially K through 3rd, of losing their password. Students just forget those things. The facial Windows Hello, I'll just show you on my device. It doesn't store data. It's using thousands of points. So if I have my device right here, I'll just show this. It's already looking. It's locked. It just unlocked in that second right there. Split second. Think about, this is the only password. I'm sure we all have those fun passwords. This is the only password we have to change every 90 days. Every other one we have to change. I'm sure everybody else has that too. Now, I've done a fantastic job of growing a beard, taking off weight, probably more so putting on, but it still recognizes who you are. It's used, if you've ever seen articles, used by DoD. Talk about safety and security. That's the compliance. We want to keep our students, we want to keep our faculty safe. Passwords are huge. Anybody ever see where people have their passwords on a piece of paper or on a sticky note on their device? Isn't that awesome?
Right on the side.
Right on the side, exactly right. I remember, if you remember some of the fun things with the calendars, the big calendars you put on your desk that have you write on them. I remember underneath that, that's where we kept the password. It was so easy to find. It's like, oh, there's your password. Yeah. That's the part that you really want to keep that safe. I share that because one of the things that this is near and dear to my heart is because I travel a lot. Students and faculty, it doesn't matter who you are. Don't always think about what the damage can be done with that unlocked device. Mm-hmm. Now we are taught, like it is in a former life I did work for Apple, but it's ingrained in us that you lock your device. The second you get off your device, you lock your device. I lock my device, it's right there. I know that nobody's going over to it, but do you ever see where students or faculty do not lock their device? Mm-hmm. Think of we don't discuss it, but think of all the bad things that can happen from there. Like awful things. And we don't need to go into those. There's probably read stories. I work pretty much at every Starbucks and Panera around. I see it almost every time I'm at Starbucks. Somebody goes to the bathroom and leaves their device unlocked. Absolutely. I sit there and think to myself, do you know what somebody could do with that? Not even stealing it. Just quickly grab data. You'll see articles where people just take a photo. Think of PI, personal identifiable information. If you read anything about what Microsoft does, we are very private. We want to keep our customers' data private. But think about on a device, if somebody has anything that's on that screen, doesn't matter what it is. Think of a student that has their name on their device and they leave it open. We want to keep those students safe. So things like Windows Hello, where you lock it, you're able to quickly jump back in. In fact, anybody have it where they want to get their device really quick? That's it there too. Does anybody have where they have that super long, which we do too, but super long password to log in? It's not fun at all. Yeah, we have that, and you can't ever touch, unless you use Windows Hello, you can't ever have any variable to the previous, like, 3 years of it.
Yeah.
Which is awesome because I can't really remember those things. So, sorry you used this before. Sorry you used this one before. So that's where Windows Hello comes in. And the thumbprint one is totally, I absolutely highly recommend that. You're going to save yourself a lot of time and effort with that.
So you can use facial too,
Yep, MFA. So multi-factor authentication. Highly recommend utilizing that. We can go into that, side of that, but thank you for bringing it up. Definitely use that. Compatibility, big part about Windows 10. If you're using it, it's pretty much compatible with almost. Thank you so much. Oh no, you're fine. Oh, no worries. Run. Bye. Thank you. It's compatible with so many different pieces out there. There's so many third-party, and what I shared earlier, we are partners pretty much with everyone. I mean, of course, even maybe it may not seem that way, but we are certainly with Alphabet and Apple. Good partners. I believe we're still the largest iOS app maker as well. But there is a lot of compatibility. Think about your Windows 7 is hopefully don't raise your hand, but hopefully everybody's off Windows 7 if you're it's past that point. So hopefully you moved on from there. But there are things that are Windows 7. There are legacy applications. There's legacy USB, whatever it may be. But that's a great part about Windows 10. When we talk about using in education, think about your printers. Does anybody have older printers in their school?
Yeah.
Are they fun to manage?
Oh, I love them. They run forever.
They run, absolutely. I was an advertiser for 15 years.
Like HP 1320 sitting on my desk right there.
I have very old ones myself, and
Yeah.
it's nice to be able to use those.
Mm-hmm.
Think about how much those cost. When I was an advertiser, we had giant ones, and somebody has them, we sold them, whatever it may be. But it was great to be able to use it. I still use, to your point, I use printers from and third-party dongles still to this day. So that's a big part of the compatibility. When we get through, there we go. So now I just want to show some of the fun features real quick inside of here. Is anybody currently using is anybody currently using Clipboard? Anybody heard of Clipboard? Clipboard is probably, are you currently using it? Clipboard, gotcha.
Yeah, so.
So?
Yeah.
Think about, I'm gonna show it live. This is live, so not like it's that exciting, but I will certainly share it. Have you ever had the point where you're working on something, doesn't matter what you're working on, but you're copying and pasting all day, and you copy and paste and you try to drop something in and it's like, I don't know if that's the last thing I copied, but you're gonna copy and paste one thing. With Clipboard, which built into Windows 10, you can copy and paste multiple things. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab, maybe you want to say this one. I'm going to snip it. So you have snip and sketch. Windows Shift S is your friend. I'm going to take just that right there. Now I'm going to copy that. I'm going to copy some text. And then I'll copy some more text. So now I pulled up 3 things. Now let's just say I'm going to open up a Word document. And I'm going to hit Windows key V. Oops. I should probably turn it on first. That'll help out. We're going to do 3 things again. Copy. I'm going to do a snippet. So I just hit Windows key V. I copy things. You see the multiple pieces I copied? Think about if you're doing a project. Think about students. We talk about Windows 10 education. think about it, it doesn't matter faculty, student, I mean, I use this all the time. I'm going to different sources. Do you see your students, your faculty going to different sources all the time and trying to find, how do you go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth? Well, imagine copying all that you wanted to, and then I could just quickly put those in to wherever it may be. So this is one thing I copied right there. I'm gonna hit Windows key V again. Windows key V, and Windows key V. So now I just, in that same amount of time, think about going back and forth. I do it, I'm guilty of this, you don't have to raise your hand, but some of us like to open up a lot of tabs. And we lose those tabs, maybe, but you never know what you're trying to find. This way you find something, you're able to quickly reference it and put in there. Do you think that students or faculty would ever find something like that beneficial? That's one of the biggest wow things of Windows 10 that's built in. You have, it's called Clipboard, Windows key V inside of there. It's changed the way that I do things because I do a lot of presentations. So I'm always pulling things inside of stuff with the approval of the marketing team. And dropping in there. And that way it really helps out in there. One thing you also see, I want to show you that I didn't bring up earlier, is if you look in the top left, this is Edge. I saved, you can now, if you're not familiar, you can do a few things. You can bring a website down to your taskbar. You can save it there. So that's great. But you can also save a tab. So I just save tabs, so when I open up, does anybody have it where you start your day, doesn't matter which application, but you start web-based, but you start your day and you already have like 3 things that you want to open up. And you click on each one. Whether it's a favorite, bookmark, wherever it is. Think about starting your day with these 3 open. I have 3 web-based applications that I use for work every day. It's not my work machine, but you saw it on there. I just open up, this way I'm quickly there. It saves time. We all think that it's the saving time piece we talk about. It's getting it being efficient. It's not necessarily working harder, it's working smarter, being more efficient. Same thing with students. If you know you're automatically, I work with 2 schools right now, so I'm working with 2 schools right now that they're required to have 2 online websites pulled up. We just put that, we showed them how to put it up there. They've talked about now how it's changed just that time for the students searching for it. Because sometimes they close the favorites. They don't know how to turn back the favorites on. They don't know where the favorites at. But you just, if I wanted to, I just pull, all I do is just go into here, and it opens up. If you're not familiar with this right here, this is this is brand new, Microsoft Educator Center. Definitely want to check that out. But if I go to here,
Pop quiz. Do you know how to create a secure environment on PCs for high stakes and formative assessments? Don't worry, I'll show you how to set up a safe lockdown mode that doesn't allow students to run apps, use the web, take screenshots, and more using Take a Test. To set up a device for high stakes assessments with Take a Test, first open Settings from the Start menu and choose Accounts. Then select Set up an account for taking tests. Select an account and paste in the link to your test. Your test is ready to go. When students log in, Take a Test launches instantly. Next, let's look at formative assessments. It's easy for teachers to create their own tests and quizzes using Microsoft Forms together with Take a Test. Start by creating a new quiz, test, or formative assessment using Microsoft Forms. Once you've entered your test questions, answers, and other details, your test is ready to share. All set, go ahead and select Share to generate a link to the quiz. Now it's time to create a secure Take a Test link. Simply hit Copy to grab the link from Forms, and now open the Create a Take a Test link webpage. Paste the link you copied from Forms and choose Create Link. And presto, it's ready to share with students via OneNote, email, or any delivery method of your choice. Students just click the link and the test begins in lockdown mode. Your pop quiz is over. You nailed it! With Take a Test, it's super easy for teachers to secure PCs so their students can get fair and accurate assessments on all types of tests. Thanks for spending a minute with Microsoft.
That was saved up as a tab. And all you really just need to do is, I'm going to be up here in tab. I just right click it and you have pin tab. That's a newer feature of that as well. feature that is great for students and faculty, leadership, anybody that uses Office. Anybody using Jump List? Anybody heard of Jump List yet? It's relatively new. Think about all the times that you use documents or PowerPoint, whatever it may be. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to right click on the bottom. I'm going to have, actually, let me right click on PowerPoint. You see, if I right click on PowerPoint, it's going to show me the recently used applications. This is built right into Windows 10. You don't have to do anything else inside there, but it works with all these applications. And let's say that this welcome to PowerPoint, I want to always use this. I'm using this every single day. I'm just going to save that, and it pins it to the top. So whenever I use my jump list off of there, it starts inside. Another feature that I like to show is if you click on Start. Are you familiar that if you click on Start, you can just type anything. So if I just type in Word, you can search so many different ways. If you're very familiar with Microsoft things, there are probably 300 ways to do the same thing. Part of that reason, so I know sometimes it seems like it's overwhelming. Part of the reason when we talk about inclusion, and we want to make sure that everybody can do things, and everybody works differently. I use shortcut keys. Some people hate shortcuts. Some people use mouse. Some people don't use mouse. Some people use touchscreen. But you can search in many different ways. But I would say the greatest way to search is just clicking on the Start menu, bottom left, and typing anything. So if I type in Power, you're going to see all the options that I have inside of there. It's just a quick way to find things built into there. It looks like we're at the bottom of the hour there, and I don't want to keep too much longer. And we'll touch base on that. Any other questions that inside of there? I mean, these are just high-level things of what's available, the safety, security of it. There are a lot of features that benefit the students that will help them out. And one of the key things that we talk about is work and life is to get the students ready for the future. Certainly, I'm not saying that ROS is the only one used, but it certainly is one of the most used in the world. And when you talk about future ready, getting students ready, that's one of the things that they need to do. They need to be able to be ready to use these features. They'll find the features quicker than most. They're inquisitive. They find things quicker than most people can. That's one of the reasons why we lock down the device. But when we talk about utilizing Windows 10 in education, it's getting the students ready to be prepared. Prepared to get out in the world, to be able to use that OS, to be able to use the things that are part of it, and the features of it. So when you use these, like the things like whiteboard, the camera, the photos, you're able to change the way they deliver content, the way they collaborate, the way they're able to share information. And that's really what Windows 10 brings. It brings the ability to let the faculty, students be who they are and share their creativity shine. Creativity is a relative term, and we're all creative in different ways. But there are so many different ways that they're able to use these tools. And just the brief ones we talked about will really change and enable them, empower them. If you're familiar, our mission statement is empower every person and organization on the planet to achieve more. It's what we live by, it's what we go by, it's why I wake up every day. I love doing it. I love to be able to, even if somebody took away one thing today, I never knew that.